Hey, Mr. Barthelings here with part 3 of our 3-part kettlebell swing series. Looking back in video 1, we talked about the hike and how initiating the swing starts from the ground, right from the very start. And without that strong hike, having a strong swing just isn't going to happen. In the second video, we looked at actually initiating the swing and just doing single reps. Where the force comes from, how we direct it, and control that movement. And really looking at that upright, strong, standing plank position. In this video, we're actually going to talk about repping out the swing, which is a lot different than just doing single swings. Now, you might ask, why is that? Well, when we're doing a single swing where we get to touch down before we do our next rep, we have a lot of prep time to initiate each individual swing. Take a look. When I'm setting up for my single swing, I have all this time, get the right position, right body, alignment, and then I pull it in, touch down, and now either I'm going to let go, shake it out, or I'm going to keep my hands in contact and go again. Whatever way I reinitiate the swing, each time I have a lot of time to prep and kind of remind myself of the steps, remind myself of what positions I'm going to be in. Now when we get into multiple swings, that time between reps becomes much shorter. So take a look, I'll just do a couple of reps. You can see that between each rep, that time is very, very short. And I have to process all that information, remind myself of that hinging position, getting up into that strong upright position, timing the lowering of the bell. And that can become very overwhelming. So, as we go into doing multiple reps, I'm going to start by saying this, just like I started in the other videos. Take your time. Don't go from doing singles and jump into doing 5 reps, feeling like, you know what, my single swing feels pretty strong, I should be good for 5. You want to take a stepwise process towards that. So this is one way you can do it. Actually using single swings to move into multiple. So before we get into multiple reps, flowing off of the hips, we're going to do multiple reps coming off of the ground. So what you can do is set up, get into that hike position, and now each time you perform a swing, you're going to tap down, rest for a moment, regroup, and then do the next swing. So with this, again, you can start with 2, then 3, then 4, then work up to 5 or 10, just to get into the rhythm. Practicing this, one, will help you work on your hike, which we can all use lots of reps on, reminding us to keep the bell in that solid position. We don't want to let ourselves get pulled too far forward each time, so really think about tapping it down. And then we start just cutting down on the in-between time and mentally preparing ourselves for that reduced recovery time between swings. Once you've done that, maybe up to 5 or 10 reps, now you can start doing multiples off the hips without regrouping on the ground. So I'm going to do a couple just naked swings, not using the bell, to remind ourselves of some of the things that we need to keep in mind. So I initiate that hike, same as a regular one-off swing. Drive our feet into the ground to stand up tall. Everything right now is the same as that one-off swing. I let the bell go up as far as it wants to go up. Remember that the bell doesn't go up because I pushed it forward with my hips and then used my arms and my shoulders. The bell goes up when it's ready to go up because I drove my feet into the ground, my hips extended because of that, and as they powerfully extended, when they came to kind of their end point, they transferred their momentum to the bell. So don't force an early initiation on that swing by using your upper body. Just let the bell go when it's ready. And let it go as high as it's going to go, which is likely somewhere from belly height to maybe mid-chest height. Okay? From this point, we're going to pause. And remember, we want to be in that solid top position like a standing plank. Remember those 5 points of tension. Our feet, spread our toes out, nice solid contact with the floor. I pull my kneecaps up, locking my knees. Squeeze my glutes, brace my abdominals, brace my core like I'm bracing for a punch, and lock down those lats. If I do that and have all these points of tension, I'm not going to do this, which is really going to strain my back and start taking away from what we're trying to accomplish, which is using our glutes and hamstrings, that posterior chain, to bring up the bell. Okay, so returning to the swing, now I'm going to wait for the bell to lower. I'm not going to let my hips go back until my forearms make contact with my sides. This is all the same as that single swing. Then my hips drive back, and now this is where it changes. Instead of letting the bell pendulum swing back to where it started, I start the process over again. From the hips, drive my feet into the ground. Bell travels up as far as it travels up, locking everything down, waiting for it to come down. Wait, wait, wait. Hips back, and repeat. All right? The key here is making sure that as you're doing this, at the top, you're always getting tight so that we don't have this arch. And also making sure that you're waiting as the bell comes down. Because if you let that bell come down and not reach your hips before you push your hips back, you're going to start looking like this, straining that back and having to pull the bell in with your arms to get back to that position, and then your swing's going to go funky. If you find yourself at that point, let the bell come in and down to the ground. Whenever you start losing the technique of the swing, try to control the finish of that swing and put it down. Don't set in your mind, okay, I'm doing 5 reps, and stick to those 5 reps if by rep 3 you start doing something funky. Okay? If you have a bit of a funky rep, let it go back, take a moment, step back from it. Take a couple breaths, and then return to it. And hope that maybe if that happened at rep 3, that in this next set, rep 3 is solid, it doesn't happen again. If your goal was 5 reps, you're going to work to those 5 reps again. But always commit to doing it as best as you can. And if it falls off, then that's okay. If it falls apart, that technique is kind of going awry, bring it back down. But this is also why you want to make sure that you're having a pretty light to moderate weight. You want to be mindful. You want to start slow. All right? If this feels like, man, this is a bit of a jump still from those one-offs, don't come to this yet. Start on those one-offs, keep working on them, and then building with those multiple singles off of the floor. And then eventually, you might get to doing 2 or 3 reps. Take your time with the swing. It's an awesome exercise. But you want to make sure that you keep yourself safe, that you keep your technique sound, and then you will get the most out of this. Send me any messages if you have questions, and all the best with your journey on learning this swing.